So generally, if you've watched any of our other videos, you'll understand that we do favor Pilates over yoga. And the reason for that is a lot of patients that come in with an element of chronic back pain have a inbuilt weakness. Maybe if you've watched our videos, you know not to do this. They've been using supports and straps which have basically destroyed any core competence that they used to have. Or maybe they're a lady who's had a C-section in the past and lost the ability or never gone through the rehabilitation to actually regain strength of her core. That's something that's quite commonly overlooked in quite a worrying way, actually. But Pilates is often much, much better. And when we go through our phases of treatment, after we've got patients out of that initial sort of inflammatory phase and they're feeling better and they're able to start doing things properly again, they've done some of our basic rehabilitation, we'll send them for Pilates because it helps them really in a safe way, particularly with the reformer, strengthen up this section of their core and really is quite a vital part of long-term rehabilitation. So we definitely recommend that. Yoga, on the other hand, is much more generally at the amateur level, and I know there are some people that are much more advanced that do yoga in a slightly different manner, but generally the consensus that we get from people that are coming in here, and this may be why they come in here in the first place, but the obsession seems to be with backward bending to do the wheel as sort of the end goal. Be as flexible as possible, taking the joint to the end of range as much as possible. And that's fine if you're super flexible, that's great, you're going to decrease your likelihood of injury. But if you now have a bunch of really lax, wobbly ligaments and you're shaking all over the place because you're super good at yoga, where is the integrity and the strength and the support coming from? And quite often, especially with yoga, much like gym work in fact, people just go all in on the yoga or they go all in on the gym, and it would be really helpful if they did a little bit of the opposite one. So they're doing the flexibility but also the strengthening at the same time in a way that's intelligent and driven by what their body is doing. Because being in a class of 10, 20, 30 people, although it may be economically affordable, in the long run it may actually not be, because you won't be doing the exercises specific to your spine that you need to do. And quite often, for example, you get girls that come in which have a hyperlordosis, and it's a little bit more common in girls, where their back's bent loads. And all they're doing in their yoga classes is more backward bending, bridging, those sorts of, I think it's called the cobra as well, where they're bending backwards even further. That is not helpful. But with yoga, we seem to see that patients that are good at that have that inbuilt structure in the spine, do more of it. They don't tend to work on their weaknesses. And that's because they didn't know. And how can you know if you're in a class? So if you are going to go down the yoga route, intersperse it with a little bit of Pilates maybe, or some gym-based work to build a little bit of strength alongside that flexibility, and do something that's more tailored to your spine. If you come here, we'll know what you need to do and what that is, what that looks like, and be able to give you advice on that as well.